Hey everybody, Captain here, and this is going to, I apologize in advance, because this is, usually I flow with my videos, I rant and I tirade, I have a very, very loose outline, but I'm going to be very literal in this one, because I do want to make it a response video, because I've had people in the past that disagree with me, hate my guts, or not everyone's just hating my guts, but certainly some people are, and some people are disagreeing with me, but I've had one, quite a notable individual, disagree with me vehemently and hate my guts. And I wasn't going to respond to him because I didn't like the guy. I didn't respect him. There was no winning with him. He was delusional, misquoted me, just outright lied about what I've said, take things out of context. All I did was shut up and take his traffic, and it was great. However, I do like MGTOW. I do generally agree with the principles. I do like them. Many friends of mine are MGTOW. But since there seems to be a rift in the force, I'm going to be very, very clear so that the cowards, the intellectual cowards who like to misquote me, say things I didn't say and stuff like that, they're no longer part of the debate. Also, I'm only going to, while I do care about MGTOW, I'm stating my position once, and here it is. Here's the official source. You can read through this as many times as you want, and you can misquote it and chop it up. I don't care. I'm moving on to other things. So here's my official stance, the Nicene Creed of Cappy's opinion of MGTOW. And I even have notes. I have very detailed notes. I don't usually take these detailed notes. Yeah, so then at any time henceforth, if you want, okay, what did Aaron Cleary, well, here it is. Here's what he really said about MGTOW and all that. Right? Now, there are many things to say about it, but there's a primary disagreement, and that is, and people can argue this later, but the primary disagreement that some people in the MGTOW community have with me, and that is, I have claimed that some men use MGTOW as an excuse for their failure with women and their cowardice, that they're just too afraid to go and approach women. And that my stance is that when you have a man of lesser moral, not morality, but lesser character, lesser courage, lesser, I don't want to say moral caliber, but character, honor, character, whatever, the salt by which you judge a man, they are much more likely to choose the path of least resistance, an excuse, and say, are we recording? Good, we are recording. And say, I can't succeed because all women are whores. I can't succeed because all women will divorce men. And that is my statement. That is, I'm not saying all. I know someone, I said 50%. It was a statistic I pulled from my ass. I don't know. I would still say around 50%. It could be as low as 30. It could be as high as 70. I'm just saying 50 because that's what I said at the time, and later on I'll explain that percentage statistic. But that is basically my stance, is that there is some contingent, it could be a minority, a sizable minority, a plurality, maybe even the majority, we don't know, we don't take polls, but there are some men who claim to be MGTOW who are abusing it. And that's literally what they're doing, is they're abusing the concept of MGTOW to excuse their cowardice and their failure with women. Right, now, there are going to be some caveats and all this, so before you get your panties in a bottle, hold on, we're going to get to it, and I'll explain it here. Right? Now, the counter-argument to this is that, I'm going to consult my notes, I apologize for this not being smooth, is that some men do not need to try, they just see what other men before them have done and have the wisdom to know not to try. So it's like you watch somebody walk over a minefield, they get blown up, you know not to walk over that minefield. You see your dad get divorced and taken to the cleaners, you know to swear off marriage altogether. Right? Now, here's where I have a hard time believing that, and where I'm calling bullshit, not everyone that claims it, but most people who claim that kind of status. Right? There's basically three groups of MGTOW as far as I'm concerned, and I'm starting to feel like a feminist, guys, or one of these women's studies where we break things down and we have acronyms and all this crap. Never cared to delve into it. I just like the general theory, going to run with it. I don't need to label things, but I'm going to break it down for analytical purposes and discussionary and participatory purposes here. Right? There are the veterans. These are the men that went MGTOW and were driven to MGTOW by experiencing women. They were not academians, they were not theoreticians, they were not professors who taught business in the business school but never ran a business or worked in the real world or worked in a corporation. These guys were on the front line. This would include people like me, Stardust, who did a very good, I think, fair and balanced, not to quote Fox News, but he did a very good response video I would consider him one of them. He talked about Barbarossa. There are men who are typically older who have dated, and women drove them away. All right? And I thought that's what all pretty much MGTOW was. It's like, you have your biology, you have to, women, giggity, giggity, let's go and have fun with the boobies. And so you run around and then you just get the shit kicked out of you. Mentally, psychologically, emotionally, financially, sometimes physically. And you think you got bad luck. You think like, what the hell with the women I'm supposed to be choosing? Must be the state, must be my school, must be me. And then all of a sudden you wake up to the horrifying realization that it's not you. It's not any one variable. It's the women in general. Okay? And then what I would say is the epitome of MGTOW, we can debate this later, is that you reprioritize. That would be my purest definition of MGTOW, is where women are no longer your number one priority. They might be eighth. You reorganize your priority list. And now it is no longer getting a girl. It is, I'm going to go do whatever it is that you want to do. Ride motorcycles, get your degree, go windsurfing, write a book, make ice cream, raise wiener dogs, play video games, whatever it is. Those now debunk girls. And girls, they're not kicked off the list totally. All right? I've always said this before. You can have a girlfriend, you can have a wife. Women, and this is where everyone's, the purists, the people who think they have a fucking monopoly on MGTOW and what it means, even though this is it's in its embryonic stages. So, no, that's not MGTOW, it's definitely this, and what was it? You guys even have rates and scales like 4th level MGTOW? What the fuck is that? Right? Oh yeah, this isn't becoming a women's studies department, fuck no. So, anyway, it's a simply, I'm going to go and do my own thing. If that includes women, sure, but women are usually then not at the top priority list. It's really more of a, I'm going to go live my life. You are allowed to come with, but you're going to operate by my rules, and we're going to do what I want. And if you're like that, cool, come along, tag with, grab your own motorcycle, let's go hiking, whatever. But it's not putting women on a pedestal. That's about the only thing I disagree with Stardust. Trust me, I do not put pussy on a pedestal. Trust you me, I don't. But at the same time, I do enjoy the company of women. I very much love many women in my life, not just romantically, but friends, family, stuff like that. But the large boys group one is the veterans. They have dated, they've been there, they've gotten burned, they put their hand on the thing, and they've learned, and now they're like, whoa, you are not what was promised in the movies or what my parents told me or what media told me. Right? Then there's the second group, and these are the boy geniuses. Right now, these are those who could override their biological imperatives and programming, watch what their elders or fathers had suffered, and go their own way. In other words, they were monkey see, monkey don't do. They said, look at that, I can't do that. And then that would spare you the pain and agony, and absolutely I could see how that theoretically would be possible. Monkey see, monkey don't do. And then there's group 3. I call them the posers. Right? These are young men who cannot override their biological imperatives, still want to sleep with women, but are too lazy to put forth the effort necessary to attract women, or are too cowardly to approach women and find it easier to claim all women are whores or dismiss women entirety in general. And then run to, look at what happened to those guys, they got divorced. Well, I'm not going to try. Right? Now, the sub-debate is truthfully whether or not Group 3 exists, because I do believe Group 1 and Group 2 exist. I do believe there are the veterans who went through trial and tribulation and hell and fire, and they learned empirically about MGTOW. And I do believe there are some key boy geniuses. I really do believe so. I think they came from very broken families. They had elder brothers. They saw it somehow, or they saw their best friends. But the truth is that they are a very small minority, right? And the subject is that the Group 3, that doesn't exist, that there's these posers. Like, no guy is posing in the manosphere. Like, ever, they refuse. Every guy is refusing that temptation to just explain their pathetic performance and reconcile yet their inability to get women, or their cowardice of approaching women. They use it and they just say, oh, she wouldn't go out with me anyway, fuck women, right? And I'm calling bullshit on Group 3. Group 3 does exist. It is a much larger group than Group number 2. It's smaller than Group number 1, obviously. And there is, as Stardust said, there probably is an age correlation with it, right? And now let me explain why I believe there is Group 3, why Group 3 does exist. And you're not going to convince me. So stammer your feet, throw your temper tantrums, unsub, unsub. I'll live without it, okay? I'm trying to be intellectually honest, and I don't know any other way to be. All right, so you can threaten me all you. It doesn't matter. This is what I believe. You're going to have to accept that. And here's the empirical evidence. If you want to attack something, attack this empirical evidence and reasoning that I have, and that will lead me to change my thoughts and my beliefs upon it. But until this change, I'm not going to. I cannot deny reality. Right? First was the visceral response. Not to keep bringing him up, but Stardust, he did a great job. He did a great job because he wasn't emotional. It was purely analytical. He was like, well, here's Aaron Clarey, and da-da-da. And it's like we could have a conversation. Sandman and I could have a conversation. We may completely disagree, 108% disagree, but these guys really are MGTOW. Me claiming there's a contingent of men who claim to be MGTOW and abuse the title did not faze them. You want to know why? Because they truly are MGTOW. They really did go their own way. However they got there, it could be theoretical. It was monkey see, monkey don't do. It could be group number 1 or group number 2. But they're not part of group number 3. Stardust, he was like, yeah, I haven't had sex in 2.5 years. And he said it, and I was like, wow, that guy really hasn't, and he's totally okay with it. And that's fine, right? But they're legit. Everybody else got their tits in a bundle. Well, not everybody else. I mean, some people would have. I'm saying the people who were visceral, you obviously were very upset. And all that means is that you do not catch flack when you're not over the target. It's true. It's true. I got too close. You don't get pissed off. Someone comes up to me, Aaron, you're a fat, faggoty fuck. Well, no, I'm not. That wouldn't piss me off because it's not true. I know you obviously are wrong. I'm not fat. I'm not gay. Maybe I'm a fuck. I don't know. But it doesn't bother me. I'm not going to get all emotional because you called me things that I'm not. But when you call me something that I am, I'm trying to think of something that would really agitate me that would be true. But I hate to sound so arrogant and cocky. I've really improved myself and ironed out whatever problem. But then again, I'm 40. So there's not much, you could say I'm short. That doesn't really get me pissed off because, I'm short. I've learned to live with it and don't really control it. But if I come in and call you a hypocrite and you get all pissed off, what if you were true and honest? Christian, I'm not a hypocrite. I believe in him. What do I care what this person says? Right? So it's kind of like you belied your intent. You gave yourself away there a little bit, getting all pissed off because I'm basically pointing a mirror at you and you showing yourself for what you are. And you don't like what you see because deep down inside you know you are a coward. You don't have the balls or the guts to go and approach women. And that'd be okay if you didn't want to approach women, but you still do. And so that's living in denial. And that's why I think you get the visceral response and I got all the flack. Number 2, human curiosity. To really believe the group number 2 boy geniuses, that they're all boy geniuses, is that you would have to overcome human curiosity, especially for the most powerful force thing in the world, and that is sex. And it's hardwired. And especially at the age of 20, when your hormones are raging, you're going to sit there and tell me that at 20 years old you can just dismiss it? No, bullshit. I don't believe it. Right? I don't have any real proof except to say, at least human curiosity. You'd want to try, you'd want to find out, you'd want to maybe take a shot. But again, unless you're too much of a coward to approach women, or you're too lazy to go hit weights or do whatever it is that's necessary. And I understand, and Stardust had a great point. If I were to go back to my former self, I would say, dude, don't go to the nightclubs. Don't put women number 1. Absolutely, if I were to do it over again, I would have spent nowhere near the amount of time. But I would have spent the time more precisely and more intelligently and more strategically and wisely. I wouldn't have told myself to give up. But the human curiosity still would have been there. Don't say that, oh yeah, at 20 I'm this fucking Zen Buddha type of self-control and restraint, and oh yeah, I saw, oh look at what happened to all those guys, oh I don't want to talk to girls, MGTOW. No, bull fucking shit. Don't believe it for half a second. All right? You're just gonna have to deal with that I don't believe you. All right? 3, empirical evidence through comments and interaction. Okay, I got a sizable blog and YouTube, and I've made comments on MGTOW and the Manosphere and all this other stuff. And when I read through, I'm a fan of Sandman's. I watch all of his videos, and I read through comments and all this other stuff. There's some genuine, blanketing statements where you are completely dismissive of women. So, yeah, what's wrong with being a misogynist? Yeah, I hate women. Oh, fuck them. They're all whores. Oh, they're all going to divorce you. No, they won't. All right? And here's the other thing. The always, oh, no wall, no wall, oh, no wall, what's it called? One kid used it. Shaming language. Shield, flak. All right? That's a telltale sign that these black and white blanket assumptions means you haven't gone out and you haven't met any women. You have not taken the time to get through the crappy bad apples to get to the one or two good ones. And I understand there's not a lot of good ones. I always said I empirically dated. There was 1 in 100 was marriage material. 1 in 100. And I can understand why you may not want to go through that. I totally understand. But when you have no women in your life, not even friends, not even girls that were nice, are you kidding me? You don't know about like Honey Badger Radio, you don't know about Clarissa's blog, you don't know about all these women out there that are on the internet, at least on the internet, and you just dismiss them all like that? No, that tells me that it was an easy decision way long time ago, a policy decision where, yeah, we're just going to put all the women into this one category for the ease of our psychology and our ego. So when I see that where it's like, oh yeah, all women, yeah, we can go with the no alt route, but it belies that, you never gave them a shot, you never cared because you're just too much of a coward or too lazy, right? So that's why did I put 50%? Oh, and those comments account. This is where the 50% number comes in. Those comments account for about 50% of the comments, the total comments. Something like, like, oh yeah, I like women. I go have sex with them. I got a girlfriend. I took a girl to Sturgis, whatever. But then about 50. Maybe it's a little bit, maybe 35. I don't know. But a significant percentage is this general blanketing dismissal based on policy, a true bigotry. Not leaving the door open for good people based on merit and their own quality and caliber. Women who may actually make your life happy. So that's another one where I don't believe it's this boy genius figuring it out, and it really is anger or frustration. Say anger because it's not like you have hate. It's just frustration. I understand. It sucks. It sucks what you're asked to do. In terms of like lifting weights and eating right, and all this other stuff, and then even maybe then it doesn't, and then you get crazy gals, and it's 1 in 100. I got it. But that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking percentages. We're talking about your behavior. And then finally, it's MGTOW cult. You got atheist cult. Look, here's what I never understood about atheist or atheism, or is the concept of atheist cult. You don't know what that means. Is okay if you're an atheist, you don't believe in God. That's it. There you go. Don't believe in God. There should be no real theological debate. If you don't believe in God, I don't believe in God. It's like being asexual. I'm asexual. There's nothing else to say about it. But then some of these atheists, they have nothing else in their lives, and then they wrap their lives. That's what they put at the center of it. You know how like feminists and women like to put, well, I'm a feminist, and I do this, Arkeesian, the Valentis, all these people that we mock and ridicule. These genuinely evil, hollow, shallow people, they have nothing of actual production and value in their lives, and they then go to a belief or a name tag, or, you could say this of any group or people. ISIS, for example, is an example where it's like they have nothing but so they attach themselves to Islam. The various race groups, we're all Hispanic. Yeah, have you done it? No, we're just Hispanic. I'm Latino. Yeah, but that doesn't, blacks, white nationalists. Choose whatever group you want. When you start valuing yourself based on something that is not an accomplishment, but merely either a trait you were born with, or a belief, like, oh, I'm a global. Okay, better example. This is more analogous. Vegans and global warming people, or environmentalists, or activists. I'm for the environment. Oh, for you. Ooh, I don't eat meat. Oh, for you. All right? It would be a thing. No, I personally don't eat meat. It's but to go then and lecture and proselytize and to make it your life, you're filling a hole. You're filling a hole that your life has nothing else going on in it. And this is where I believe it's MGTOW cult. Look, I enjoy the discussion and conversation on the internet. I enjoy MGTOW discussions and all that. But when you take it like a religion and it's your life and you ain't got anything else going on, that tells me you're using it not for its original intention. You're using it as an abuse. You're abusing it. Another perfect example, because it's perfectly analogous. These born-again Christian girls, they have fucked up spectacular in their lives somehow. They cannot face the fact that they screwed up major decisions and were wrong. Their ego can simply not sustain it. So they go running to Christianity because Christianity is so convenient to excuse women and remove them, and men too, but it's primarily the born-again Christian women, remove them from the responsibility of their actions. Jesus has a plan. The Lord will provide. There are gals I know who are pushing 40. And they're just like, well, the Lord just hasn't provided me a guy yet. Have you worn heels ever? Well, no. Do you know you're 40 pounds overweight? No. Do you ever plan on wearing makeup or growing your hair out long? No. But the Lord will provide. MGTOW cult. All right? It's the same thing. You're going to live miserable lives. I'm just saying. Look, again, get all angry. Unsubscribe. All right? I don't care. I appreciate your traffic. I certainly do, but I'm not changing this. I'm not giving this. This is something for you to consider and digest. Hopefully, maybe you'll make your life better. Regardless, when I see with MGTOW cult, it's an obsession, which means deep down inside you really do care. If you're truly MGTOW, you just say, "Hey, I'm going. I'm taking off," and maybe having some interesting philosophical discussion and theoretical discussion about what it might mean and all that. But when you get all pissed off and circle the wagons and say, Jesus, well, you'll burn in hell, and how dare you accuse us of this? I can't, really? You don't think there's some people out there who just find it really convenient to excuse their cowardice and protect their ego? You really don't think that's a viable explanation for at least some of a percentage of the MGTOW people out there? MGTOW? Right? So if you're going to go circle the wagons on a concept like that, that's pretty logical. That's not terribly outlandish. And I nowhere did I ever say all, nor did I say all MGTOWs are virgins, despite what other people may have said. I mean, come on, be intellectually honest with it. So anyway, here's the deal. I'm sorry, but I don't believe it. Okay? I don't believe that you're either all veterans or all boy geniuses. There's a contingent of posers in MGTOW and the manosphere. They use it as an excuse. They're academians, they're theoreticians, they're professors who don't have any real-world experience. And yes, they may be accidentally right, but that's not the true motivations for becoming MGTOW. They're simply abusing it. You really got, and for those of you who went through it, who had to date and go through all this bullshit, think about that. All of us guys had to go through all this crap, and then throw up to say, hey guys, don't do this, and say, oh, well, of course we're not good. Well, you did it all for us. It's like, no, you know what, you little son of a bitch, I think you ought to get a little knocked up, but not knocked up, but knocked around a little bit on the dating battlefield. I think you ought to go get your ass shot down 10 times. I think you ought to, have to go to the gym and lift weights a little bit. I understand, no, we don't, I'm all in it for weight. Okay, I know. But, when you have a little bit more respect for your professor, if he or she heck, even did an internship in their field instead of just went from undergrad to grad to PhD to the classroom and couldn't tell you what, never ever clocked in at a company. I don't know. Anyway, and then finally, I like women. I do. I like women. I put them on a pedestal. But I can't join this all women are whores, all women want to fuck you over, all women want to just divorce you. Most do. Yes, I know. I know the statistics. But you're going to miss out on a lot on life because women can be a really good addition to your life. I'm not saying putting them in priority position. I'm not saying putting them on pole position. I'm saying don't dismiss them. Okay? Now watch him. Well, he's a pussy pedophile. Or pussy pedestaling. You're putting a pussy on a pedestal. Oh, look at him. No, I didn't say that. I'm just saying don't dismiss women right away. Don't dismiss them outright. Come on, there's good women out there. And you're gonna miss out on a lot of fun. Maybe some sex, maybe not. Just maybe some good conversation if you just dismiss them all like that. So anyway, that's my official position. I have spoken. And I don't care if you're pissed off. I really don't. I do hope you seriously contemplate what I've said so that you don't miss out on some great things in life, and that you also result in self-improvement. Not just to get women, but if you're already using this as an excuse not to hit the gym, not to stay in shape, not to do this, not to, okay, all right, you're living a lie. You're living in denial. You need to become a veteran, or if you can really truly achieve that boy genius level of Zen and truly meditate it out, cool, great for you, go live your life. But for the rest of you, who I do believe exist, you got to get out of that, man. You got to either truly achieve the Zen of MGTOW or become a veteran. One of the two. And that, you know what? That's just my opinion. I'm sure we haven't had a Nicene Creed. We haven't had the meeting of whatever, Constantinople, where we all put it together and figured out which books are going to be in the Bible. Just my opinion. But, something you may want to consider. If I'm a veteran, toodles.